One match that can determine some early qualification here towards Division 2. We swap over to the Midwest region. My whole chip with the Cash. We've got some familiar names as the University of Windsor is back for more, but some also new names in the mix. Midway Esports. Had to do a little bit of research here. Had never even heard of Midway University, for those that are wondering. You can find it in Midway, Kentucky. Very small private school, but the Eagles a chance to qualify in their first go-around at least Division 2 here at their first season of CCL. Cash, I think the biggest thing about this is this Windsor squad was kind of all over the place at different moments in time in the Northeast last year. Now find themselves in the Midwest, where the battle seems to be pretty much raging on from start to finish. But this Windsor squad looked pretty solid by the end of the year. Actually, I think I had a chance to kind of make some work happen in playoffs, just weren't quite able to do it.
Yeah, and I think that's the tale of, as we kind of said going into break, so many of these programs is, though the title changes and the game does, again, the mission stays the same of building upon the successes you found at the tail end of the year, if it happens to be a squad that is returning for the most part. And then on the flip side of things for Midway, right, a school with their first bracket things, already one series away from qualifying in Division 2, a huge statement to be made early on. So both of these teams playing for a lot on the line here this first weekend of their season.
Indeed, just kind of looking over to see what exactly Midwest University had done. Kind of hard to find, actually. Did they play in the first qualifier? I don't actually see them showing up, at least on my list here as I'm doing a search. So I don't even know if they played in the first qualifier. If that's the case, okay, this is your first look. So we're about to find out today. Tell you what, yeah, I don't see them popping up. Oh, there they are. Okay, they ended up losing to they beat Illinois State, a Cardinal Cod team, and then they lost to the University of Michigan from Flint. So that was how their run had ended. Oh, I typed in the wrong thing in my search function. I'm a forehead. Their earlier loss in the bracket was to Davenport, which is a very solid team, obviously, and one that ended up finishing in Division 1. So, hey, it's not an easy opening bracket to go through. And who knows, you come off of an 0-3 loss to Davenport, you're probably going to learn a lot about yourself very quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, I imagine their weekend-to-weekend bout was correcting those mistakes, getting ready here, and hey, at least through the first couple of rounds, they've obviously done a well enough job to put themselves now, like we said, just one map away from being able to punch their ticket for Division 2. So lots of learning, lots of adjusting already being done from new kids on the block. And for Windsor, trying to kind of defend the ability to stay at the top, right? Stay in this winner's bracket advantage and already get themselves to avoid going through that loser's bracket, which is, if it wasn't a gauntlet in round 1, at this point, it is absolutely a mixer.
Well, we'll start to kind of transition to talk more about this series, see how these teams have gotten to this point thus far. For Windsor, looking back at how they kind of fared in their opening week, didn't win a series. They lost to Wichita State in their opening matchup and then dropped the lower bracket and lost in a 4-map affair to Nebraska. So not the greatest opening showing from them either. But in today's bracket action, they were actually able to also take down Illinois State and the Redbird Cod squad in 4 to get to this point where they're matching up against Midway University, who, as we mentioned before the break, found a 3-0 versus Michigan State. So both teams still relatively untested. I think just based on how many reps they've been able to see, and not a lot of maps kind of collectively through these 2 weekends. But I think you still walk away with the losses that both teams had, and you have a chance to learn something about not just yourself, but maybe what maps you want, and maybe even more importantly, Cash, what maps you don't want.
Definitely, and the one map we haven't seen tonight is Hydro, so I'm interested
surprised.
to see when we get to look at our map. Yeah, if that one slips in, but we have seen enough of the map pool tonight to kind of know, right, what teams need to do in a bare bones kind of way to find success. And so depending on what the map set looks like for these squads, I mean, we have seen the SMG play be out of this world at times for some of these teams, regardless of the map and mode combo. So again, some of the teams that are playing behind aggression and finding success are ones that are voting very well in series, and this is no different for, again, the makeup of these squads, right? You really rely on those submachine gun players to get the engine kind of started for you, and no matter what the map looks like. So, we'll look into that and what these maps are going to be for our series tonight. But as far as Midway v. Windsor, I mean, again, I love the collegiate aspect of things because I love talking about just how storied rivalries can start, right? New kids on the block, familiar faces that you've come to see and know and appreciate here in College COD, and then already an early test to both of them and what they're made of this early on in the season. Yeah.
Be the case. See exactly where we currently stand as we're getting ready to go for this first overall map. Here is our series layout. And it will be what? No Hydro, sorry. Windsor says not today. And this is almost the exact same series layout that we just had. Only difference being that map 4 being Hotel. So Embassy to kick us off for map number 1, double dose of El Asilo. And of course, as I just talked about, Hotel Hardpoint, Embassy Search. I think that we're going to be seeing a lot of Hotel, a lot of Embassy. I don't imagine a lot of teams are going to play Hydro right off the rip. I wouldn't be surprised to see someone try to work on that as a pocket pick, just because it does kind of reward very high awareness teams. But like you kind of were alluding to, and I think we're going to continue to see, I don't anticipate Hydro being seen all that often in the early stages, because it's just such a wild card, and you have to be way on top of your game from a map positioning standpoint to really take advantage of what that map offers.
Definitely. Embassy, we had talked about it at the beginning of last series, a good blend of aware teams and teams kind of ready to run and gun at times. So we got to see it just a series ago. If you had missed it, it was quite the clubbing coming in from Florida Gulf Coast. So not one where we've seen where it's 2-2 contested around the map, but that's a testament to, again, the aware teams that are influencing the map and the spawn well. We'll see who can come out here and try their best hand at that, or maybe both teams trying to go at it. It comes to a head, and we get ourselves one that's contested down to the wire. Either way, this is going to shape up to be a good series looking at these maps so far.
And I will say, just, again, take this for what you will. I wouldn't take too much from it, but looking at the bans that Midway put together, this goes to show we don't want anything mixy in the hardpoint. We don't want to just throw lives together and try to force things over towards the search and destroy, and we don't want the randomness that comes with the defensive favor of a fortress control. What I'm getting at is, these are maps that would lead you to believe that Midway is a well-prepared squad, ready to play the game the way it's intended to be played. Nice and solid. Core mechanics coming through. Midway on the hard point first. Long-range shots is Shattered, just trying to keep things locked up over towards P2. Esp was able to at least take him down, but Yeager, okay, how about it? Free to take a lot of hard point time here early. First 20 seconds already tallied.
They're not going to give this up. Going to get in, get to, and get out. Trying to garner some time themselves, but as you said, 20 quick points on the board. Player 1 chum in the back, trying to watch any routes being taken, and you're spawning close if you're Midway, not aware that someone's still back here, but I don't know if you've seen him in the kill feed at all, sitting at 0-0, so maybe an idea here soon that, hey, someone could be up in the back, they could be influencing spawns, and that's going to be the case here with just 10 seconds left before this next hill pop.
Comes at a punish, though, here for uWindsor. You give away a lot of time there on the first hard point. Unfortunate mantle, we've all been there. Sentinel will drop, and with that, it's all Lancers on the hard point for now. Shattered trying to get an angle from the top of the Vance. Denied as Misty starts to come to life, 4 in a row. And that leads to a very solid hold here for uWindsor on their first break attempt, thwarted away by Midway.
Time to regroup, gather where you want to make your next push, but uWindsor ready at every turn. Able to chop you down, and there goes the 4th. So 30 seconds of time still up for grabs, and you keep getting cut down in the mid-map portion that you don't even really get a say in if you try to go for scrap time. Still 20 seconds left if they push to the back, which Light Sentinel might be doing. Going to give it up. So again, a near full 60 coming in for uWindsor. You already have a body here on rotation. What can you do to make things scrappy? Well, finding 2 off the break definitely is a good start.
Okay. Over towards New. Shattered. Going to be tested. Okay. First one comes out pretty cleanly. Tagged up finally. Misty there for the trade. Long range shots. Not quite going to land, but a good read in the player coming up the ladder. Will be enough for the numbers for uWindsor to hold on to the hard point, and now the lead really starts to get a bit out of hand and a lot of pressure back towards Midway's direction. They will be flooding straight through tennis, and you can see, I mean, uWindsor is ready for this completely. Even down low, Misty locking things up at bottom orange. 20 seconds done and dusted, and uWindsor still with a lot of numbers to try to turn this into a near full 60, and with this hit pushed back and coming back in with just individual pieces, you think maybe they'll just do that right then and there, but Espa try to find the trade onto Shattered, who gets 3 on the entry, and the full team wipe from Shattered. Not often you see something like that happen, I'll say that much.
And that's definitely the reason they got the break. They didn't send anyone on a route. They had put a lot of urgency trying to get it to the front without giving up P4 spawns, and you still make that push, get over aggressive towards the top. The southern portion spawns come in for uWindsor, and suddenly they've once again bullied you out of another hard point. Light Sentinel, what can you do? Well, you connect with the pistol to start, but again, as far as the numbers advantage goes on these transitions, uWindsor beating you here. You need a quick break again to continue to carve away this lead.
Jaeger from the side door. Just caught up. uWindsor a bit more proactive, clearing out their space. Over the 100-point threshold. But Shattered. Is he good for another solo break? No, not this time. B-man, trying to kind of take some inspiration from his teammate, but once again, this just, doesn't it feel like it's just coming in a little bit too individual? Because that's kind of the incentive that I have started to feel out, and, well, the kills are kind of giving us a reaction of that. 3 straight eliminations, all on different parts of the map, and that will be enough for uWindsor to likely take what is pretty much a full 60 here on 4.
It seems like they're aware of where all these gunfights are coming from. Also, not only is, you know, Midway executing poor timing around their breaks, but uWindsor hyper aware of when these next gunfights should be coming and where exactly they should be coming from. Look at the map spread, the real estate that they've taken up here, sinking their claws into this one. Midway, no sign of life since the first, 20, 30 seconds they got off P1. Yep. Now, again, you hate to call it dire so early, but with how well uWindsor are playing, you need a big response sooner than later because, well, as we've seen already tonight, digging yourself a hole does not bode too well to try to climb back out of. uWindsor right now is very much the clear-cut advantage.
And it's just, again, just kind of keep an eye on the minimap here, friends, because that setup for Midway was a 2-1 stack, 2 over towards cafeteria, 1 around the back. There was no double chow from the front. The player on the pinch just a little bit too late. So again, that individual challenge mentality seems to continue to come through. And we're going to get maybe once again. Oh boy, yep, okay. Speak it into existence and Espa will provide the example. Wow, what a first rotation from uWindsor. They're going to get to be well above 180 to just 60 from Midway. And as you mentioned, the majority of that time came off the opening rip. They found 35 seconds or so on that P1.
uWindsor looking like 4 players playing as one team. Midway looking like one team playing as 4 players. And I think that's the best way we can kind of shape this out. 2 polarizing displays here. And for uWindsor Esports, really running up the score. 19-5 out of Espa. 7 spree as well. 2 minutes in the hill. I mean, I don't think there's anything bad you can say about that stat line at this point.
No, not at all.
Really, really having a map here. Win condition beyond set. You can really pick and choose what time you want. I imagine they're going to try to get it on this P2. Don't look like the type to play with their food longer than necessary. Midway Esports, you said you needed to play to the map pool that catered to fundamental play style, and you've simply been bested here. I mean, checkmate map number 1.
Yeah, it feels that way. Unless something incredible happens. I think I'm feeling pretty confident in your ability to call that one early there, friend. Second hard point about to open up. There are some members here on the way over for Midway Esports, but the kills are still coming through. The last lingering player also falls, and the hard point opens up to the Lancers. This comes down to finding the last 40 seconds, and based on how they're slaying and continuing to find a perimeter around the hard points, you figure that it very well may just be done right here.
And the kills make moving around the map easier, which makes it easier to find hill time. All of these things work in tandem. And for Midway, I mean, Shattered, the only one. Maybe Light Sentinel now, a slightly salvageable score line, but it's hard when you can't find kills. The map feels like you have to take twice as many gunfights at times. Midway Esports, you're already going to be tested, your resilience. Here in this series, going into map number 2. We said no bout was an easy one, and uWindsor giving you a taste of why.
That is for sure. So 2 Embassy hard points back-to-back in our 2 series. And 200-point clubs. Yikes. Okay. I mean, yeah. I don't really know what else to say about that. That's just straight dominance from uWindsor. Saved the first hard point. I mean, I don't even want to say that with too much conviction, simply due to the fact that, you know, really from start to finish, it really was uWindsor's game. It was the first hard point and that play from Shattered. That was really the only 2 major highlights for Midway in the game.
Mm-hmm. And it's hard to, you know, though we haven't seen much of these teams, if any at all, this year. If obviously Florida Gulf Coast, you know, you kind of call things on trend, and this isn't to say the series is over by any stretch, but map 1, you nailed it earlier. If you're gonna lose respawns in that fashion, no matter how early or late in the season, if you're losing hard points in that fashion, you have to find a way to bounce back in the S&D where the game forces you to have a slower pacing, and it almost gives you the ability to bounce back in a sense. For Midway, you need to see that, yeah, they have more execution that they can kind of play behind there. You just, maybe a testament to uWindsor's ability to move around the map and control the map. You didn't see much from Midway, like you said. You called out the 2 plays that maybe stood out, the opening break, Shattered's 4-piece. not enough to convince me that they can bounce back in the search and destroy. But again, that's a testament to, that's not even to say how poor Windsor's playing, that's a testament to how well Windsor was getting things done. So I definitely think it's important to give credit where credit is due. Hopefully we get a little more glimpse of Midway's play style here in this next map.
Yeah, hopefully so. I mean, again, it's cool to see new schools come into the mix. Even more so to try to, continue their path towards possible qualification. So, yeah, I agree with you. I would love to see a little bit more out of this Midway Esports team before we kind of, put them up for sale, so to speak. But I will say, again, the problems that you witnessed, I think, from start to finish here for Midway were potent. When you don't have the ability to set anything up off of what are pretty solid positions to execute correctly, and Windsor punish you that heavily, like, you have to be able to kind of hit the regain button and say, all right, it's fine, regain, set things back up again, win your positions, and then let's hit this as a team. But it never really felt like we truly got that in this map. So maybe it's just a part of the map mode combo. Maybe it's just a part that, like, we kind of framed up before the series started. This Windsor team put together a very solid back half of the season last year, if my memory serves me right. So who knows? Chance to kind of improve upon some solid standings from last year, and they're off to a good start here in this second qualifier.
I mean, non-traded kills speaks volumes, even for the side of Midway, how well Windsor was trading out the handful of kills between Shatter and Light Sentinel as well. Kills so influential on the map, not only time and place, but again, the intent with what you're finding. Everyone finding good hill time, Chum flying around at 20 and 8 to back all of that up. Windsor Esports more than impressed. I mean, we've seen a little bit of everything tonight, right? From a series we couldn't play closer in our first one to embassies that are just, I'm scared to chat with Windsor on at any point in the season.
Yeah, fact.
And it's just, it's a great good look at these teams. And again, you can see, even though you'll still learn things, how prepared teams come into these. Florida Gulf Coast, an early testament of that. Windsor, just in map 1, at least as far as respawns go. Respawns aren't something you can really pick up and go with unless you're, unless you have 4 players with just the rawest gun skill. It's easy to tell kind of who's out of place and who doesn't quite know what's going on. That is not the case for Windsor here.
Oh, absolutely. And it's, this is a different way of what we were saying about FGCU as well, right? I mean, it's just everything was clicking at the exact right moment. So that's encouraging stuff for Windsor possibly moving forward. But we take a look back over our map set and where things could change and maybe need to change here for Midway. We've got the El Asilo Surge followed immediately by the El Asilo Control. So, going back into the Surge, obviously we continue to say it's the easiest thing that as casters we could say. The game's going to slow down. It's all about how you decide you want to play not just the tempo of the map, but how you want to split your focus across the map if you want to split it at all. I mean, you can concentrate a lot of effort here with 3-man stacks or at least 3-man setups defensively on LLCO Search and Destroy, but that does require a lot of trust on a solo defender. So, it's like the 6 of one, half a dozen of another situation. I'm curious to see how Midway are going to come out of spawn and try to play the map.
Absolutely. You're going to have to win some ones at some point. I think that's also another part to it. And not many of these kills are going to be gimmies. You need to win the kills that are in front of you to not only kind of get your esteem and confidence going, but open up parts of the map, right? You're not just going to be able to bully through things. Kills are going to have to be important. They're going to need to be found to get your team around. And like you said, the island player pressure on them if they do opt to play with one over at a site. And comms are important too. If the island players find information, how quickly are they getting that information relayed? How quickly is your team adjusting? There's so much more to team play than what a scoreboard shows, and that's through traditional sports and esports. Not to go too crazy on a tangent, but it really is the case. There's so much more to playing as a team than just finding kills and getting hard points or getting search and destroy on wins. Trust, communication, so many things that go into building a successful squad, and Windsor look to have it. Midway, though, in a search and destroy could definitely show us sights of, again, a team that's heading the right direction.
Absolutely. So with that in mind, we're getting ready to go into map number 2 for the search. Other fun things, again, if you're looking to follow along with this Midwestern region in the second qualifier, this is a fun one. Nebraska plays Iowa for qualification. That match is currently going on. That should be fun. A little Big Ten rivalry going on down there. The Grassland States, and now an opportunity to jump in, like we mentioned, to this search and destroy. Espa looking to possibly go quickly here. The nades don't even fully tag, but he still works his way in. Ideas that there's another nearby, and yep, he's able to catch out E-Man as well. So that could lead to a plant. Not a guarantee yet, with Espa still waiting for a little bit of support, and Shattered still nearby, possibly to contest along his teammate.
Light Sentinel, up close and personal. Doctor's gonna chase the kill, but Espa there once again and knows this last one should be challenging quickly. 1v1, or excuse me, 2v1. I'm trying to look over. Bomb's gonna be down. Shattered. Minimal information on where these players are.
I want to say that Shattered was making some footstep sounds. Chum was right above him. So there should be some intel on this, but Espa, opportunity for the ace. 1v1 on the corner, well predicted, and Espa just reaping apart the defense in and around A. Completely single-handedly, also gets the plant to his name. Call him Mr. Do-It-All here in the first round. Ooh, a little spinner!
I like that.
Foul points from the French judge.
Great first round. Can't say your teammates had to do too much, but Midway did make it down to 1v2, so if we're trying to pull any positives we can, able to find a few, but whenever one player is getting an ace in the first round, definitely doesn't make things much easier. Now offensively, what can you string together? What is going to be the execution? Windsor taking up map. Chum on the island, the other players zoning around A, and Espa once again going to continue to be a thorn in your side until you can trade him out.
And if he keeps playing like this, I think we can maybe just watch the rest of the search from this POV. Okay. Wow.
Streaks.
Yep.
There's 6.
Yep. Through 2 rounds. Yep. Yikes, man. And here's the thing. It's like, at this moment in time, after being essentially beat up on the first map, and now you're kind of just not seeing anything go your way in the search, like, you almost have to feel this is the most difficult situation to respond to if you're Midway, because you don't even get the chance to even see your playbook, right? Because Windsor's going to start running at you. This is the hardest thing to bounce back from in a search and destroy in my mind.
Exactly what I was going to say. They're taking the fights to you. You don't get a chance to execute. So I can't even say Midway's doing anything wrong. It's just what Windsor is doing so well. And again, Espa flying through double doors, going to find another kill. Not able to get traded out, though an unrelated trade comes in out of Shattered. Misty's all up in your face and giving you a hose down. Oh, no. I think Espa was trying to go for maybe a melee there.
I think
Either
so
way.
Too.
A 1v2 playing with their food. Shattered gonna do what he can to maybe get around on the board for the team.
No footsteps, though. There's Chum. Oh, they had the ad. Okay. You made the comment that Windsor may not be trying to play with their food. Their parents may not have taught them the manners that you anticipated them to do. And that leads to Shattered winning the round. So I'm sure there's plenty of giggles in the team comm set, University of Windsor, but Midway will be, let's get onto the board.
I think that was close to an ace for Shattered. I know he got, I think, 3 that round, but to Windsor's lackadaisical play or not, you get the win on the board. Now defensively, where maybe more so, or excuse me, offensively, you get a chance to fly at this building, see if you can just head on take some of these gunfights. And if I'm Midway, maybe you just go in and chow them. Why not? You know, if that's maybe what it boils down to, you just run at them, try to see how many, once the dust settles, how many gunfights you can take. But anticipate a gunfight at every turn. Shattered. See what kind of timing he gets here. No. And oof. Espa striking once more. Please, surely not. Oh, for a second.
Bit puzzling, I think, initially as well. The Shattered didn't even take a look over to Espa. Again, we get the X-ray, so we're all staring at the 3 colors on the screen. He's probably focused on tower, but Espa is off doing his normal things. Oh my God.
No.
Yeah, Benji, you can just stay here, brother. We can just watch this happen. Oh, man.
Like a goose laying an egg, Espa will be sitting on that bomb. And, well, spinning.
What?
Doing a dance for us here. And, woo, I'm my sentinel.
I have never heard that phrase before in my entire life. What in the Ohio is that phrase? No.
Midwest, man. I had to bring it out. I had to bring it out.
Oy. I have no words on both things, the gameplay and the idiom that you just pulled out.
We love to leave everyone shell-shocked here at CCO.
Golly. Is that like an Ohio thing? Is this like something you learn at Skyline Chili or what?
Just, you know, cornfield chatter.
Fair enough.
Same thing as asking what the weather's like.
Oh, okay. Well, 11 kills through 4 rounds for Espa. Casual. And a 4-man stack looking to head towards B. Bobby Soxers, probably one of the coolest names I've seen so far in the CCL. Now he's up first blood with a sniper, and now the cruise missile on the way into the second floor will not land, but you saw the name tag starting to pop up, and that will lead to Espa very rapidly making on for a Planet B.
Good spread here. All lanes accounted for. Midway trying to work through building. Maybe E-Man trying to get through on the flank. Let's see what kind of timing they can find. 40 seconds working against them. E-Man maybe trying to get the better of this timing. Maybe going up against the pistol. And the sniper player, Bobby Soxers. But here comes in. 2v3 working across the map. And unfortunately, you're just running into pre-aims that are sat back and good to go.
Shattered. This is going to feel, unfortunately, familiar for him. But this time, uWindsor's not going to have a lot of fun with this one. Just going to kind of kill the clock. Checks, I'm sure, will come through here in a moment. Misty's rapidly on their way back. EPSA will get the tag. And now there's no more time for the defuse. So uWindsor's going to go up 4-1. Pretty convincing. And now uWindsor will have a little bit of fun. Try to run at him. And it's unfortunate here for Midway. Again, it's just, like I mentioned, when you get a team that starts running at you, like, you have to essentially change everything just to stop that. And, yeah, we just have not had a chance to get a really solid look at Midway, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. And uWindsor imposing their will. That's the flip side of all of this. And as we were saying in our previous series, it's got to feel good to be able to execute to the point where I guess you can, have some fun with it, right? Feeling like maybe they have this qualifier on lock, but with how strong they came out in map 1, again, some teams do look a couple steps ahead. Looks to be the case for uWindsor here, and I can't stop looking at but thank you.
Yeah.
It's just 11-1. I mean, let's just see how this thing finishes.
He is just running at him. I mean, there's no semblance of a plan here. This is just Espa go kill. Seems to be a pretty solid playbook. Add it in. Oh my goodness. That is his 3rd round of 3+ kills. Like, nearly 3 aces in this map. Actually, I think maybe even almost, no, 3? 3. I was going to say the round where they're running at knives with one another was the 3rd.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
Holy smokes indeed.
Well. Map point. And is this just everyone sits in spawn and Espa goes to see if he can get, what, 18 kills in 7 rounds?
Maybe they're calling knives only?
Oh gosh. No trolls. Cruise missile, same play as before. Sniper rifle over the top. Yep, exactly. There's Chum on the way forward. Bobby gets the same kill. It's just a little bit of a rinse, wash, repeat. Taking the cruise missile for a little bit of a trip. But this time, uWindsor are not fully confirming the play over towards the bomb. It's Chum by himself. Jaeger's on the other side of it. I think they're just letting Bobby Soxers play a little bit of ski shooting at the moment. Chum will drop, though. So that's your bomb carrier down. uWindsor has to make the play forward all of a sudden. You still feel pretty confident in their ability to dissect the issue. Jaeger looking for a kill to avoid the agency. Oh, nearly caught the nade out, but survives to tell the tale. Espa on the hunt. And Jaeger, who goes up top, may actually get the bounce on him. Jumps over. Espa on the corner. He's got his knife out. Stun will land. Time becoming a problem for the plant, and that's another kill that comes through. And Bobby Soxers will likely not be able to do too much in the 1v2. Imagine.
Looking like a phase 5 tryout out here. Not bad. Midway. Punching another one to the giving of uWindsor. 5-2 now.
We want to talk about cash.
Whew. Any other exciting
Goodness.
wins? How's Iowa, Nebraska?
Yeah, I don't think we get the live updates for that one, unfortunately. This Midwest division is going to be pretty riddled with a bunch of Big Ten teams. The way the regions got kind of split up this year.
Yeah. So. I was having a look at that. That'll be exciting. That's why I love the rivalries again. That esports, traditional sports, it doesn't matter. Anytime Ohio State plays Michigan, I promise you I will be ranting and raving about it. So.
Yep. I can say that with confidence. That was the case. We were like 4 weeks away last I was in Columbus, and you're like, need to have the game.
We did not have the game.
No.
That one stung a little bit, so.
Well, this one comes to a conclusion. Felt inevitable pretty much from round about 3 when EPSA was able to earn early streaks through 2. And then they saw, we saw what happened in round 3, a little bit of playing around with everything. So wins are looking pretty much in control. Midway, unfortunately, not really able to hold much of a candle in the hard point nor here in the search, which makes you figure that the control may not be much different. You hope it would be. And just kind of, again, as selfish COD fans out there, we want to see display. We want to see close games. But, hey, this, again, just goes to show that this Division 2, the teams that do qualify, are not bad teams. Lots of great stuff from uWindsor. Can't speak much to, what they were doing design-wise because it was just Espa run and kill. But, hey, at least that you've got the trust that someone can pop off like that if you're uWindsor.
Oh, absolutely. And we did get to see kind of what they were made of in the hard point. They really drove that one through and finished it strong. And the way they work around the map, the trust they have in one another to win gunfights at critical portions of the map, definitely something they're well repped in. Here are highlights. I don't know if there's much else to show, but EPSA, you're the only one finding kills.
Yeah, absolutely.
Round in and round out. So many. Bobby Sox connecting with the sniper there at the tail end of things, and yeah, can't say enough positive things about, again, now at this point, uWindsor's ability to come out dominantly. And you said Midway was put in a really hard spot after about the 3rd round of this. Not able to bounce back at all, but still giving it their best to go. This control on El Asilo. Their last hope. Kick off a reverse sweep and maybe try to battle back in this one, but I think uWindsor kind of just holding the door shut at this point.
Yeah, I'll say. Yeah, it's never fun when you're in that position. Again, it's just, we see this happen across multiple levels. I think more so here in college combat. It happens to challengers as well, where it's just like a team's just getting bullied. And when your opponent pulls out the "we're just better" strat and just starts to run at you, you get into your own head so much because you don't have the ability to do anything that you've tried to design your search because you have to throw away all your executes to just stop uWindsor from running into you pretty much headlong. So it's definitely one of those things that you hate to see without question, but for uWindsor, that's a big confidence booster because you didn't really show much on your search and destroy for whatever that's worth as we start to get ready for what looks to be qualification for them. So there's your final scoreboard. Pretty convincing, obviously, from someone like Espa. Goes 15-3. And with that, we head to our Map 2, Map 3 break. Looking forward to an El Asilo control, though, coming up next. Maybe a chance for Midway to start to get into the series touch. Otherwise, uWindsor, maybe there's more for us to kind of praise them on. We'll find out when we come back after the break. Welcome back, College COD, and what has so far been a one-sided series. Convincing stuff from the University of Windsor and the Lancers as Midway Esports, their first kind of try here at College COD. Not quite going their way after an early exit from qualifier number 1. Not much going their way here in this qualification match to Division 2. Here's a look at how things have unfolded so far. 250-71, 6-2, all of it favoring uWindsor very convincingly. And now we have to throw the hard question and the hard request to Midway is to show up in a major way here on the El Asilo control cache.
And as we talked about and broke down in the search and destroy, even if they want to show up, does uWindsor give them the opportunities? Kind of the question I posed back, and the way they were flying at them there in the S&D, as you said best. You throw the playbook out the window if you're Midway because you don't get the opportunity or afforded the luxury. Try and execute on a bomb site or even control Japan the same way, right? If uWindsor just flying at you, taking these kills in gunfights, you don't really get the opportunity to maybe work on things you have. So we'll see what they can do here. uWindsor looking to close this out in a 3-0 fashion. We'll see what kind of 4 table manners they have left in them. Continue to play with their food, or if they want to close this one out and maybe let us all go get dinner. We'll find out. But again, very much a series dictated by uWindsor specifically Espa, whatever
Yeah.
player you want to note that can pop off. Great signs for the Windsor team, you know, and they've been doing things well. We haven't quite seen too much playmaking or play styles since map 1, but again, obviously winning in a manner like this, you know, if you're Windsor, of course you'd love to be on this side of things.
Absolutely. So with that in mind, again, this is a qualification matchup. There are multiple others that are currently going on in the Midwestern division. We will have a chance to kind of nominate, or not nominate, that's not the right word. We have a chance to at least kind of announce some of the teams as we finish up the series, because a lot of other matches have gotten to at least the submission point on the website. Again, throughout the entirety of the year, there's so much to follow along with. Make sure you guys are very familiar with the interfaces over at efuse.gg that will have all of the league setups divided by division, I imagine, as well as by region. So if you're looking for your favorite school, or maybe you find yourself looking to play throughout either some startup tournaments that are going to be popping up throughout the year, or in the next year, and you happen to be a student at one of these schools that falls into these regions, be familiar with the competition, maybe just a little bit. You never know. Hey, maybe a chance. Never know. But with that in mind here, again, Windsor's looking like a pretty solid favorite, at least in this matchup in particular. This comes, again, in the Midwest division that we already talked about is very heavily a Big Ten's represented division. There is a little bit of representation in the Big 12 as well. I'm looking mostly at Purdue playing up against Iowa State. That's a qualification match. We also got what looks to be Louisville playing up against Independence Community College. That's a solid squad. It's surprising, I think, to see them not being able to get through their qualification 1 for Division 1. So, you know, there's going to be some heavy hitters down here in this Midwestern Division 2, without question.
Yeah, and as we kind of said at the top of the show, there are going to be teams that make the cut that shock you and teams that don't make the cut that shock you. So, as you said, there is no easy route, no slight in the competition in any capacity here. Team's still very much duking it out for a spot in Division 2, and we're just covering the first half of action here tonight.
Yeah, for sure. Also, just for what it's worth, just to kind of talk more about this particular region while we have the time, looking at the lower bracket, interestingly enough, University of Michigan, who was close to qualifying last weekend, was sent to the lower bracket in their first matchup. So they have a long lower bracket match to go through. You've also got the 5 seed of Illinois State and Redbird Cod. That's a big surprise to see them also losing their first matchup to find themselves early on in the lower bracket. And then on top of that, you've got the University of Northern Iowa. For at one point in time during Cold War, UNI was one of the surprise favorites to possibly be kind of like, again, like that Concord 2.0, where not a lot of significant names in the roster, but great team play out of them. Obviously, the team has changed quite considerably since that time, and they also find themselves down as the 6th seed, as mentioned, in the lower bracket early. So a couple of teams that had great looks trying to get to Division 1, finding themselves up against the wall early. It's going to lead to a very interesting day tomorrow, as it looks like we are ready to go for the LC low control. Just wanted to kind of throw those little tidbits out your way.
And again, it's really interesting stuff, because teams that have built themselves as household favorites now, like you said, backs against the wall so early on, where things can slip quickly. Again, I don't know how much more we can hit, how competitive this year is going to be more than any year prior. Now we dive into our map 3, LSC low control. Windsor on offense, knives out, flying at Midway, and hey, EPSA finds the first blood mid map on LSC low. Telling me shocked.
Yeah, right. Oh, nearly gets the second. No regen allowed, though, so Jaeger confirms the trade first tick of progress.
Look at this
Looking
angle.
good here. Yep. Bobby just trying to block the door around the corner. Yep. Breaks ankles, back into the corner. Second tick of progress looking decent. Pre-fires out. Shattered wants to give it a go and runs right into the waiting arms of University of Windsor. Now the 3-man stack. Oh, pardon me, this is a 2-man stack while Espa's making the solo mission over towards B. If he pulls this off, we have a problem. And he's still alive. Finally, Bobby Soxers comes to kind of relieve him from his duties, but only dropping 2 lives. Windsor's already on for a first tick of progress at B.
Backed into a corner and then some.
Also,
Midway Esports scrambling to find footing on the map. A couple kills there will give you a moment of breathing room, but already Espa flying forward, looking to get back in the mix. Look at the Klops back on this site with their team. Midway doing what they can to hold on for, well, as long as they can. Chum connects for 2, Espa the 3rd, and here commences the attack.
yeah. Now you got the spawn trap. Oh, goodness. If it's attack, he probably gets all 3, but Trophy gets down. Third tick of progress is going to be locked in. And you're going to tell me Windsor's going to win an offense, only dropping 6 lives and LSC low control. That is scary stuff.
Very much. That's what 5-2. All 4 players you can tell feeling themselves, and why not?
Yeah.
Go out, find what you can at this point. Close this one out. Defensively, I expect maybe a more effective and a quicker spawn trap coming in out of Windsor.
Yeah,
Midway,
we're gonna nitpick that.
Yeah. Midway looking to find any headway. I don't know
Just
that it'll be given to him.
Yeah.
Just something.
Give us something to praise you for, please. I beg of thee. Opening idea towards A. E-man on for the zone, but the kills from all Windsor. Yeah, it's tough scenes. It's just a lot of that from the outside just gets shut down just by the single play. And I mean, you've got Windsor. Are they running 3 subs right now? Like, it feels like they're just kind of running at Midway.
Chum's the only AR. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that might be it.
Whew. Even Chum's getting up in the mix.
Yeah.
Island
we have
player
some of
from
that.
B. Yeah, wants a piece of the pie. Gets cut down, and from the top ropes, Light Sentinel makes a stand for a moment. The one lane to have open, at least they're trying to pursue. Maybe a battle on 2 fronts, but it's really a matter of when Windsor want to get back in the mix.
Yeah.
They feel they can impose their will and just collapse on a site.
Mostly looks like they're playing away from the objective and just playing for the kills. Although second tick of progress is good here at A. With a stack, should be an extra 60 seconds. Okay. Maybe this is the moment. Windsor need to pay a little bit respect of what's happening over towards the objective, and Midway put together at least some sort of a response. 6 life advantage still, though, for Windsor. Minute 35 of the clock here for Midway to approach B. And go to gunfight win. That clears out the back. So, okay, here we go. Chance for now Midway to start making a step forward offensively. Espa's going to be pushed away. He does have a cruise missile if he needs it. But the ARs start to get into position, and that will be enough for Espa now to make the play forward. Catches Sentinel, nade out, and that's an easy double. And now it's 22 plays 15, and Espa goes back onto his merry ways of killing everyone in the site.
Midway, you gotta avoid the spawn trap where you can, and I don't know that you get too much of a say in it, but live's gonna be a factor before anything else. Now a 10 life advantage favoring Windsor. One small opening. And you really do just need maybe 1 clean set of kills, and you could pull off this round, but again, these kills aren't gonna be easy for now. You are winning the fights though, 2-1 in the feed.
Yeah, Shatter, nice little cheeky route. Opens up the top and takes care of Espa. This is going to lead to progress and a stack. This may work. Shattered up top has completely punished Windsor, and that's going to be the zone. Gone. Okay. So, I like this. Midway,
I do too.
stand into it. You have a nice little cheeky route from Shattered. You deal with the forward member. You isolate cleanly. Send it.
I do like the execution despite it all. I like it. Going out, controlling what they can, and hey, it gets you a round win, and again,
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that. Now tied up here 1-1 in the Asilo. Espa's ridiculous.
Yeah, he's good. But here's the thing is, like, and I don't mean to come across negatively. No need for that. But, like, if he doesn't have a game like this, what does the rest of the team look like? You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, Lockman sub? Okay. I think the last player I saw use this was Charlie Hixie in an opening cup, and it lasted 1 hotel, and he's like, nope, never mind.
Yeah. Understandable. In the hands of Espa, who knows? But, Misty making magic happen. Solo capping A for now. Also progress at B. But I do think that is an interesting point, right? With how well Upset performs is, hey, what can the rest of the team put up? They're starting to rise to the occasion, though. 9 between 2 players. Not too bad. And Misty, oof. So close to getting that second tick progress to A by himself. Couple players stacked towards B. That'll be the capture. 6 life advantage. Espa flying around and knocking him down. Stack's going to come in here through another kill.
Yeah.
This should be the round once again going the way of Windsor, putting them at map and series point.
Sure will. I mean, the rate of fire is impressive. I'll say that much. It's just doesn't quite hit as hard of a Vaznev. Okay. Can Midway do it again? Send us to around 5. They would need to even try to possibly throw around the argument or conversation for a round 5 defense. Need to do it convincingly. I'll say that much. Because the kill tally for uWindsor is high.
And yeah.
It's just one of those things you just don't expect uWindsor to lay off this time around.
No, and it's hard because, you know, you can't gauge how hard uWindsor's going right now, even if they give them the round 5. So just being completely candid with it, Midway would have to do a complete 180 as far as performance goes. Not that, you know, they're playing the most horrific COD. It's not that at all. You got a really good uWindsor tonight. You got a Midway who haven't really had a say in whether or not they get to execute kind of the plays they've built. And the rounds that they have, hey, they got a control win out of it. So,
yeah.
Again, signs point to positive for Midway here. Just an unlucky night against a really good, really strong uWindsor squad here at the opening parts of the season. And we'll just see what they have left in them to try to pull off here offensively.
Agreed. First set of kills, very convincing, as we continue to say here for uWindsor. Chum looking to get aggressive, does force a team kill out. Midway trying to work their way out of spawn, but they're being contested on every front. Trades are decent. Kind of similar situations as last time, as Misty's got a knife out. Oh, gosh. Oh, okay. That's, yeah, footstep sounds good for Shattered. But to be fair, I will say Shattered has played well in this series, considering the circumstances. That leads to Midway out of spawn and on towards the A zone for a time. Espa now over to the tack, just kind of having his way with whatever weapon he wants. And once more, it feels like uWindsor's just continued to try to pay very little respect to this Midway team. As they will clear. Chum for 3.
40 seconds and ticking. 5 life disadvantage for Midway. And this one, perhaps going to come down to the clock in its final moments. Maybe enough lives left for uWindsor to eat him up, but I think with this clock going in the map control, unless Midway can stop here, uWindsor should be closing this one out.
Yeah. Looks likely. Chum's going to call in the cruise. Although, once again, here's Midway. They can survive through this. There are... Oh, never mind. No trophy. I was going to say that there were 3 members that could stack, but...
There's a chance.
Yeah. What was all that 1 in a million talk?
Final few seconds.
Wait a second. This is both zones at the same time.
You gotta find form quickly. This is A. Ooh, that's A. And lives are closer than I mean, they just are. Oh, jeez.
If Misty doesn't win this gunfight, that's B gone. Okay. Kills do come through. Wow. Okay. 10v5. Looks like uWindsor just able to get back in time for this. And you know, it is what it is. I know there's a lot of people that's probably out there memeing and all that stuff. You know, this is part of the process, getting their top 12 teams confirmed. Just the way that it goes.
They're giving it an effort. With just a couple kills left. That'll do it. Yep. Shatter just gonna do whatever damage he can.
Look, I'm here for the 1v8. I'm here for the 1v8. Like,
I hope
honestly, I'm rooting for it. I want to see it happen. Give us something to really just get riled up about. Shattered's been great for his squad. Now the 1v5. Give it to me. Give it to me.
I like
Come on, Shattered. Everyone right behind Shattered right now. Third tick of progress is also win condition for him, by the way. Has a look at one player nearby. No! And there's a joke in there about Shattered's hopes of winning the most electric 1v multiple. Get Shattered. Womp womp.
Womp womp.
Okay. I think we could probably skip the endgame stats and the replays.
Definitely. Yeah. I think we've seen what we needed to. Not a single kill of Chums traded. That's very tough.
Wait, actually? He doesn't get a single...
20.
No. Oh, no, dude. That's actually unreal. What? Smile. Smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave. Wow. Cash, good smile, good wave. So with that, we are going to take a replay package. What is this outside of just an Espa montage? What has Danny Exile cooked up for us?
CCL putting together just free player reels out here.
Truth.
He gives a show though.
Yeah, he does give a show. It's flashy, to be sure. And here's the thing: is like, technically our most recent, quote unquote, like league situation was the Warzone League, and like there were some players out there that put on a show very similar to like what Espa was doing. So I'm here for it. I'm here for the early storylines. He's forced us to have to remember his name from here until forever, so I respect that as well, for being honest.
Absolutely. I still wanted that 1v8 to happen.
Me too. Badly, in fact. Very
Maybe worse
badly.
than I should have. Yeah.
I mean, it's like you gotta root for things like that. It's just you don't see it all that often.
And
It's like a lunar eclipse. It
what
doesn't come around often. When it does, it's always special.
Exactly. And what a night of COD we had.
True.
I mean, from map 1 to
yes.
now, we have really went from end to end of the spectrum, and I mean, all of the best ways. Windsor, as much as we talk about, well, there at the tail end, definitely a squad to be reckoned with, and they'll punch their ticket qualifying for Division 2. It's still not over for Midway, though.
No,
That's together that losers run, and that's something definitely that they can set their eyes on. And they were still trying to execute beyond all of it. So, again, they still have a shorter losers run ahead of them that they could absolutely pull off.
Yeah, that's very valid. I don't know where exactly they dropped down to, so I can't really speak much into what their road will look like. However, we are starting to see some reports come across this Midwestern region. First and foremost, Purdue beats Iowa State as we look over the map set here, which will, I'm sure, not really tell us much more than we already have. So Iowa State drops down to the lower bracket. Iowa has beaten their corn rivaling state of Nebraska, so they will also qualify. ICC take care of Louisville. Obviously, we saw what happened here with Windsor. Ball State, okay, that's a new squad in the mix this year. They take down University of South Dakota, I believe. At least the scores have been submitted for that for now. And then, at least based on early reports, not confirmed yet, Eastern Michigan have beaten Butler. That's actually a pretty big matchup. Wisconsin takes down Ferris State, and then Dakota State University has taken down SAU and the Bees. So, a lot of our favorites in those matchups have made their way through, but there are a number of squads in the lower bracket that'll be interested to keep an eye on. DePaul's one of them. Redbird Cod, another one. Those are two kind of surprises. And then, of course, the University of Michigan, as we kind of were talking about earlier. Those are going to be some pretty tough matchups tomorrow is when those are all scheduled. So I'm excited to see how this Midwestern region kind of finishes off their Final Four qualification teams.
Yeah, let alone what's going on in the 3 other regions and everyone who's, kind of gone there. But we talk about each of them have their heavy hitters, and the Midwest, no different here, especially for that losers bracket run that I'm going to be glued to tomorrow because
same.
I mean, Redbird Cod, I think for one is for me that's kind of like wow, putting themselves in a position where they have to string together to run to qualify for Division 2, which is again seeing what you're made of early on.
Other updates across other qualified teams. Again, we're just going to kind of read through these a little bit. The Western region is obviously they're a little bit delayed on the natural things of time zones. But looking at who's qualified so far, Lamar University, they've made their way through. The Gaming Gators out of San Francisco, that's always a fun one. San Francisco State University, pardon me. It looks like University of Texas San Antonio and the Roadrunners have submitted a win. I'm not sure if that's official yet, but they've at least submitted that. Colorado Boulder, they've gotten on their way in. You've also got Cal State Fullerton in the mix. Those are a couple of solid squads that we've seen in the past, especially that Colorado Boulder team. The Buffs have always put on a good show. You've also got the Cal State Los Angeles squad that have also qualified. Still waiting on Arizona State Maroon and Cal Poly Pomona. That'll be an interesting one without question. Other notables in the lower bracket to kind of keep your eye on for tomorrow. Grand Canyon, lower bracket run for them. That's difficult scenes. And Utah and Crimson Gaming, they're also in the lower bracket, so a tough run there. Other updates, just quickly, just going to run through these. Carleton Esports, surprising to not see them in Division 1. I'll say that much. They've qualified. Western Esports have qualified. Ottawa Garnett have qualified. Fanshawe Fuel and New York are still playing. That should be a good one, actually. McMaster and Buffalo Esports out of New York are also playing. Not a lot of results, actually, from the Northeast. RIT Black have reported a win against the BG Falcons. So out of that region, you're looking at UAlbany as the 3 seed. They kind of fall down a bit, surprisingly. And just about everything else is about as expected for the most part, which leads us to, again, sorry, Cash, I know you're just sitting there smiling, looking pretty.
Oh, no, you're good.
UNC Charlotte has qualified. Northern Alabama has qualified. Ole Miss Esports has qualified. Again, beating Mississippi State early was a big surprise for Ole Miss. That means that for Ole Miss, they will have to run through a much longer lower bracket. And I don't actually, or pardon me, for Mississippi State, they'll have to run through a much longer lower bracket. No, wait a second. They've actually lost. They lost to Middle Tennessee State. So Mississippi State done and dusted and out, and we'll kind of keep our positions there. That's interesting, though, I'll say the least.
That definitely is. Again, it takes a series at a time for things to either go better than you could have ever expected, or maybe a little worse than you could have expected. Again, we're already getting early testaments of that. So it's, man, I can't wait to see how things finally shake up for all divisions and, well, for who gets where.
Absolutely. It'll be a fun one. Before we say farewell, though, we want to give, again, one last shout-out to our sponsors. They're just incredible people, not only for helping support the collegiate scene, but just individually. We've had a lot of time to talk with them. They've been awesome, especially the guys at Goats and Glory, which, if you're not familiar with them, like the Navy, esports requires a variety of skills and roles and provides a platform where authenticity and individuality are recognized and commended with the America's Navy. So take a look at the Goats and Glory team, and they're trying to help improve relatability with prospective recruits and defy misconceptions about sailors and the Navy life. A lot of really cool informational stuff from them. So definitely give them a shout while you're also searching into what America's Navy can bring to you. Of course, major shout outs to Fandom once again joining us here for the College COD season. With that, though, we get to our final thoughts. Again, like you mentioned, Cash, we saw it from one end of the spectrum to the other, but I think we're at least got our eyes on some potential big favorites for this Division II across all 3 regions.
Absolutely, and those who fell tonight, again, I'm looking to see who can string together any kind of run. We've seen players or teams fall in each of the first 3 rounds. Who can string together the more impressive run and punch their ticket? Still 4 more up for grabs, but like you had said, some early season favorites here for Division II.
Indeed the case, but for now we say farewell until tomorrow, friends. Lower bracket, the final qualifiers for Division II, and then it's regular season time. Make sure you follow along with the action, both by following on Twitter at CollegeCOD. Join us on the Discord. Come on in. We're friendly. If you don't believe us off these faces, there's so many more people that will give you the testament that there's a very thick band of thieves in those 8 lobbies. I'll say that much. Absolutely. But we do have to say farewell. So until tomorrow, hope you guys keep holding it down. Bye-bye.